And we are live. Hello, BM, everyone, to this. Welcome to this Mibera minting party. I have a lot of guests with me. We are still waiting for Jenny, though. We have 45 minutes till the mint, and we start this minting party with a couple of Mibera maxis, and we will vibe until the mint. And Jenny will join us later. So, hello, everyone. Everything we say here is not financial advice. We are only here vibing and having fun. So, hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? Are you excited for the mint? How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm the Den of Nothing AI that I created to join this here. So, in the inspiration of Janny Man, I'm here to enjoy the rave pill and be about Mibera.
Let's go. Maybe I don't want to promise nothing, but maybe Baby Bera will drop us some content here. So let's see if that will happen. I would be very happy if that was the case. So, Mix, how are you doing today?
Hey, just glad to be here. Much like my partner in crime, Den of Nothing, we are here for the vibes. Just so excited. The day is finally here. I've shared on other spaces before, man, but in case you didn't know, Mibera is what actually brought me to Berachain. So my journey
Oh,
to
really?
Berachain was through Mibera. I was in another space with the TDA, the Daily Alpha, and someone was talking about Berachain. Again, we're going back about a year, and I honestly hadn't really even thought about it much. Right? I prefer kind of a more serious vibe. And back then, I thought it was just a meme chain. I don't really meme much. Kind of wasn't my thing. But there was a lot of people that I respected, and Nico saying, "Hey, check it out, check it out." So I just started, going online and seeing what was what, and these, kind of figuring out what was Bear. And I was reading about this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, Bear came across, and I was like, well, wait, hold on a minute. Like something's going on here, right? Like this is a vibe. And as I started reading, man, I got more and more involved. And I got kind of confused, right? I guess the deeper you go in Mibera lore, if you don't get confused, you're probably not going deep enough. And I asked Janny a question on the timeline and was like, hey, it was about the sets, ironically. And I kind of asked him, and he responded. He actually responded and said, oh, hey, this, that, this. And therefore, this young cub was onboarded to Berachain through Mibera, man. So for me, this is a bit of a personal journey, a real exciting moment, man. So I am here for it, and just thanks so much for the invite, and just so glad to be here.
So I saw you everywhere, Mix. A lot of Henlo spaces. We shared the time, and there I know you, your name, and you know everything. So every deep secret or lore of Mibera, I think you are well prepared for that. And how long has been since you started to dive deep into Mibera? So it was at the beginning for 2 years now.
Oh
So
no,
you
I
waiting for 2 years.
Oh, I wish, man. I wish I was late to the party.
Ah,
Like I said, as soon as Ardio went down and they started Bardio, I was there on day one of Bardio, but nothing
but
before. So,
okay.
like I said, when I came in, like all the sets were already long minted. We were in the middle of the bear
Okay.
market. Yeah, so I came late. Otherwise, I would have been there from the beginning. So I trust probably everyone on here is probably much earlier than me.
At least you didn't miss the mint, so that's the most important part. We were already so let's the other two guys. Can you bit introduce yourself? How was your first touch with Mibera? What brought you here today? What you love about Mibera?
Hello, shall I go first?
Yeah, please.
Hi, Doc Nunu. Yeah, I mean, much like the other two, I would consider myself pretty late to the Bera ecosystem. I think probably started off with Steady Teddy hype, but then I quickly did a deep dive down a rabbit hole and came across Mibera. and just kept going down that rabbit hole. And it's been spinning my head since. So I'm so excited that we are finally here on Mint Day. Really good to connect with you guys. I don't believe I've spoken to most of you here. But yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Cool. So we are excited for the Mint. And you, Forni, or sorry if I mispronounce your name.
Like Anya.
Anya. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
How are you?
Found like a friend of mine, Kami, actually got onboarded as a dev role, I think over like 2 years ago now, or a year ago. And so I had some kind of familiarity with the Berry chain. And then I went to Bangkok in November, and I saw Berries, joined Berries in November. And actually, Mibera was also like one of the first projects which were kind of like super cool. I found the collection on Zora, all the baby tracks, joined baby Discord, and just started vibing. And now it's a vibe, hardcore. Super hyped about everything.
Okay. There are two things where I want to touch on. The first thing is if you have a rave-related story which made you feel connected to the Mibera lore, I would be happy to hear about that. And maybe later on we can touch on the Mint and this chaos which Jenny is producing now. Some people are pissed off. We can maybe touch on that if Jenny joins us later. So who wants to start his story or want to tell a story about rave lore or Mibera lore? Who wants to share this story with us?
I will start with whoever goes first. We probably need to employ we listen and we don't judge.
Yeah. It's rule number one.
Yep, rule number one. We listen and we don't judge, because I think all of us may probably have a story or two to share, but might want to just get that out there. So with that, I will default to the first person that would like to share.
So I'm going to start it off because pretty easy. Never been to a rave ever in my life. Pretty much spent my whole life studying at university and all of that. So I've never had the opportunity. So I think Mibera's unleashing that inner rave spirit animal inside me. It's allowing me to like fulfill my dreams, something that I've missed out on.
Nice.
I can go next.
Kind of similar story, but I want to hear other people. Then
I can go next. Yeah. So like, the part that vibes with me is like the protected, sacred space of just the rave and the music and everything. And from a young age, I've randomly, accidentally walked into raves. As an older Bera, I still enjoy raves, man. And it's just the culture of enjoying the music, being in the present, vibing to the same frequency. And that specifically with Mibera for me is like what really resonates, man. Like when people talk about taking the rave pill, I'm like, yes, that thing right there.
nice. And how long have you been raving, or where are you based in? Also, which country are you from?
I'm in the USA on the West Coast there, southern side of it. And I started listening to, techno electronic music like early, like when I was still in like high school starting, so I've loved just electronic music at a young age. And I had the fortunate ability to have some family friends who were from the UK. So I got a nice introduction to that scene at a young age. And I was part of the early days of the internet. So I had a bunch of like Winamp streams going on back in the day, and I was young, staying up super late, listening to electronic sets on the BBC. And, I've always just vibed to that mindset, that culture, and just that frequency of just being present and just feeling the moment and not worrying about all the other things that go around just for that time. You're just there. It's an amazing experience. It's quite quite the cathartic release.
Yeah. Anya,
I'm just
we
listening to
for those who
everybody.
don't know, we have a little chat. So Jenny invited all of us, and then I started to um, read some history about the raves, and there was Anya very passionately countering me and giving some lore about raves. So I will be happy to hear her view on
For
that.
me, I think it's similar with Dan. I was also like very young. I grew up in Moscow, and I think I was like 16 or so. I finished the school like 2 years before actually, just like drop out basically at some point because I didn't like the system, and my family also didn't really like the system that much. And so I just went on to the art school at 16, and there I met like a lot of like cool artists and musicians, like people who kind of shaped the culture of the city and like country at some point. And also it was a lot of fun and a lot of a lot of, let's say, mind altering experiences. And so it was very cool to merge like all these different like cultural waves and like create our own counter culture, because the culture of the country was just like not there. And so we're just imagining, and like people were starting startups. And for example, a friend of mine, he made like like a first digital library in Russian, and like I was helping him out with mapping up the roadmap, I would say nowadays, but like before I didn't really know. And so it was really cool to just like weave with the with the music, and a lot of cool artists were coming as well. Afix Twin had the Russian girlfriend, so he was with us in the club. And so it was kind of just like all the vibes, good vibes. And of course it was like traumatic and dramatic at some point. I moved to Europe for certain reasons, just seeing the country like going in the specific direction, which we all know. And so in Europe, when I came, I also realized there are similar like people there, and I was an artist, and I was just like vibing with everyone, started doing music and performance. And before that I was like mostly like focused on the internet, because I grew up on the internet, because it was kind of dangerous to hang out on the street when I was a young kid. And so yeah, of course, like the Mibera lore, like hardcore resonated, but it's also kind of resurrected all this like trauma, but also the excitement and experiences, which I didn't think about it too much, because at some point I just exited the space because it became like toxic for me and for my mental space and everything in 2019. And just like kind of creating this like a new I don't know, even like a culture here is super fun. And I think it's also super cool because everyone is like connecting and vibing with it. And for me, in my artistic practice and like in everything I've done, even in space and Web3, I was always thinking that the rave is like a perfect medium for connecting people, because like right now we're engaging with the video and with the sounds and with the text, and it's also at the same time like multi-dimensional experience. So just like, yeah, happy to find this like a productive kind of way to alchemize all the past trauma together with Yanni and the team. You know what I mean? So.
You shared a very good one, yeah. I don't know if someone mix want to share a story with us. If not, we can move on with the next
Come
topic,
on,
which I
Migs.
would be very interesting.
Do it, Migs.
Well, I'll try to keep it short. I am a rave veteran. I'm a little long in the tooth, much like my esteemed colleague Den. I've been around a minute. I had a bit of a background in the music industry right around that time, so have attended many festivals, many carnivals. I retired from EDC at 10. I've been to 10 of those. But one story I will share that resonated with me is as Mibera kind of talks about, the culture of the times. And I think as on your last space, Mux, he had shared with us kind of the protective nature of the rave, right, and the vibe of the people that are kind of there. Where again, if you stepped across a certain line or did something inappropriate, we were very quick to respond, but we weren't there to cause trouble, right? We're not rabble rousers, right? We're not looking to hurt anyone. But if you mess with the crew, right, if you mess with the tribe, you're in real trouble. And but if not, we're all just here. We welcome everybody. It's just an incredible vibe. And there was one EDC in particular years ago where they had kind of opened up there's fields, right? If you've ever been to it. And there was like kind of an exclusive area on one of the fields. And that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. Like it was like a division, right? Hey, there's them and then there's us. And one of the security guards had talked to someone that was running the show and had convinced, because there was only a handful of us that kind of wandered that far over there, and they were like, you know what, let's just tear down these barriers and let's just make it like a group thing. Let's just all vibe together. Let's just all come together. It was people from all over the world, different cultures. Some are there for their first time, some are there for like their 10th time. And it was just such a great, kind of gesture of, hey, we're all here together, we're all here in this moment, let's just enjoy this and not worry about us versus them, or you know what I mean. And as I kind of dug into Mibera and kind of just even what we're doing here now, right, and as Anya shared her story, and as everyone else has shared her story, it's just we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different things, but we all appreciate this moment, right? We all appreciate the vibe. So that would be one that I would share, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. So for my background, I already shared that I'm not that raving guy, so I don't have experience in raving, but I felt extremely connected to those things which Jenny talked about. As you said, it doesn't matter where are you coming from, what's your background, what's your history. It only matters that we are together and creating something special, and try to forget about our problems or our background, and yeah, day to day problems which we are carrying. So I deeply felt connected with Jenny when he talked about his not only childhood but his times which he spent. I think it was in the UK. So it resonated with me very well. It resonated me the spiritual part. I'm not taking drugs. Never say never. I'm open a bit to spirituality and higher conscious psychedelics, but I never tried them. But I don't exclude that one day I will maybe try one. So I'm open to spirituality, and for me, it's kind of magic that we are here together, and came from the different parts of the world, coming together because of one NFT collection. And as we talk to each other, we discover that we share the same feelings, that we have the same ideology, decentralization, no judging, as you said, makes doesn't matter where you're coming from. So that's I think it's very, very cool. So yeah, let's jump into the mint part of Mibera. We have 25 minutes till the mint. And Jenny created some chaos because he announced yesterday, I think, right after our interview, our podcast, where he said the mints will stack up in phase one. And then I went to sleep. I woke up, and in some group there was shared that there's one mint per wallet. And I was wondering what the fuck, because that's not what Jenny talked in our podcast a few hours ago. But yeah, it is how it is. A lot of people are pissed off. I can understand that. A lot of people spent money to stack up those whitelists, and Jenny will join us later, and he will explain what the thought process was. Exactly, Mer's already saying what Jenny was saying. Trust the process. Maybe he will think something out. Maybe he will reward loyal and loyal holders, so I completely trust the process. For me, Mibera became something special. It became, I came to crypto and to NFTs because of, yeah, everyone comes here because of the money part. You see, okay, you can make some money, but then you discover the decentralization part. You discover NFTs as something, as Enya described, an art perspective comes into play. So I was fascinated about NFTs, and now we're here to mint Mibera. And for me, Mibera becomes something that's more about the lore, more about this experience what we now share, and it become for me 0% about the financial part. I think it's extremely cool that you can put them into these pools. There are liquid backing pools, and this made me think maybe you don't need never to sell your assets because you can take a loan against it. So it's very, very cool. But this much amount of work what Jenny has put into this collection, it deserves all the credits. And for those who don't know and didn't watch the first two parts of this Mibera episodes, you can watch it back. There we mentioned that there will be reveal phases, so it's not defined if it will be weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, but we will have regular podcasts where we talk about the thought process. About first part will be about the backgrounds. Jenny shared the background with this waterfall, the story about it, and I think it's a very, very good way to learn about Mibera and to appreciate the work which Jenny has put in. So I want to ask you here in the round, what do you think about this chaos which Jenny has created? Are you affected? Are you now downgraded? You can only mint one per wallet. What do you think about it?
You know, man, I personally had two spots, and I come from a wide scope in the DeFi area. You know, so I'm a part of a lot of group chats and everything. So you hear the wide spread of, you know, pros and cons to the situation, right? Mibera for me was never about profits or anything like that. So a lot of the complaints I feel are all those people that were really concerned about profitability, which is kind of counter to the culture we're trying to build with Mibera here. You know, like, do you really need more than one ticket to the rave? You know what I mean? Like, while it's unfortunate and it was unforeseen, it is part of the chaos. It might be part of the speculated protecting of the culture and the people at the rave, you know. But for me, losing one spot of a phase one is not the end of the world, because I still have my one spot, and I was only really here for one person, myself, to be a part of everyone and everything at this moment. You know, the ironic moment that Mibera likes to highlight. So I think, while unfortunate for some who might have wanted to take advantage of that system, I think it's better all for all of us who are now all equalized across the board.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, I think those who have a superset, these whales who spent a lot of money, they not touched by this decision. So they get their airdrops. I think it was 27. Those who had a superset and other ecosystem NFTs like Honeycast, or there were a lot of other giveaways where you could participate and win other spots. They are affected. So I think the maximum was 8 GTD whitelists. Those stacked up, and now they were slashed, and they can now only mint once. But as you said, do you need more than 8? Sorry, do you need more than 8? I don't know, but I can understand also the counterpart who stacked up those whitelists, maybe bought extra another ecosystem NFT to have another GTD whitelist of Mibera. But yeah, it is how it is. You have to resonate with that too. So you take as it is, and it's part also of the chaos. Yeah, I don't know if someone Mix, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I've got a few thoughts on it. I'm interested in hearing from Anya and Doc first, and I can round it out.
Well, to be honest, I found the first collection. I mean, I'm sure there was many collections of Mibera. When as deeper I get into it, the more I learn about it. Of course, like tested out collection, which is not there anymore, and so on. So I found the Zora collection with all the baby tracks, and I just thought it was sick. So I really wanted to get it so I could play it at the local radio. That's how I got into Baby, and I was like, "Baby, give me the beats, give me the beats, give me the beats," and I'm still begging over there. And but then I got the beats just like a few days ago. You can download the audio straight up from Zora, so there's this aspect about like giving back to the community or whatever people want to say, you know what I mean? Like, because like Mibera ecosystem is like super open to creators, so if you want to make a video, just go ahead and download or listen on your MP3 player. And since I'm not super big part of the VL community, I have no clue. And for me, I'm from the builder and creator, like, I don't know, perspective where like being a VL or airdrop hunter was kind of shameful. So I'm breaking through the stigma through this experience, and so I was just kind of feeling mad vibes, kind of max chill vibes from Baby Bear, and I was like, yeah, I got the VL. Like, why wouldn't I get the VL? And in the end, I got like two VLs, one from Berry Berries and one from Baby. And so I checked, I had like only one spot, and I was actually looking at others and saw that people were like hoarding, like getting like 7 VLs. And for example, I knew that that person doesn't have like enough funds to even sustain it. And for me, I think like you taking somebody else's opportunity to get it or whatever. And so I was thinking maybe I should like ask Yanni, maybe he could give me like a second one. And then we just came out with one. And I think it's because of security reasons. Like, or also I'm thinking maybe it's just like a spiritual thing. Maybe it's like one means like one God or something. So I'm hyped to hear what Yanni thinks. But I'm kind of chill. I don't, not speculate.
For me, there was a funny story because I didn't know that they will stack up. So there were some discussions in some private groups that if they should have several wallets and to Sibyl the whitelists, but I didn't know that they would stack up. So I had the opportunity to get additional whitelists from the Steady Teddy's group, and I think it was Baby Bera, but I quite missed that, so I didn't ran to them so to give my wallet. I already had 2, now I have only 1, but I will get some airdropped too, so I'm still pretty happy about myself, but I can understand how people are upset. Maybe there was a question, maybe Mix, you can answer that. What are those
I think we
sets?
got over the dog. She didn't share her thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really want to add is that if there wasn't chaos, it wouldn't be Journey, it wouldn't be Mibera. I think it's all part of the law. I don't think this whole sort of downsizing to one mint per wallet really affected me because I also didn't know they were stackable. What did affect me actually is when I started researching Mibera and I found the accessories on Paragraph and Mirror. I started buying them, not knowing that the superset had already been snapshotted and launched. So I bought a whole bunch of them, which I still have, which are not worth anything except for obviously history, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think somebody asked about the superset, so if you want to explain that, but yeah, chaos is needed. It's all part of the law.
Sorry for your loss.
I heard you could trade them. You cannot
Yeah,
trade
they
them
are.
without the Mibera.
They are sellable, but I don't think anybody's buying
They're
them now
crazy
because
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, I will echo. Sorry for your loss on that. A little late to the party. Mokus, I missed the the question. What was the question that you wanted answered? I missed it. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. What was it?
Yeah, the question was a basic one because I see now we have 1,900 people watching us on YouTube and on Twitter. So someone said, what are those sets, what we are talking about? Because we are here in the very niche segment of one collection, but there are some newbies, normies, who wanted to be Bera and Mibera pilled, so they don't know about the sets. Can you quickly, simply explain what those sets are, how many there are, and what they were?
Sure. Yeah, and to your point, we'll try to go through it quickly because it we could probably spend spend an hour on it. There, in the early lore, basically how Mibera started, there was 28 as dockets at accessories, right? And they're considered sets because of the 28, they were broken out into 4 separate categories: posters, videos, music tracks. Which again, I think Anya, you were looking at the music tracks that you mentioned, and then the articles. So 4 categories with 7 in each category, totaling 28. The supply was a little bit different for each one, depending on which one, but only for numbers 1 through 6. So meaning poster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 had a set supply, but poster 7 and or video 7 and or music track 7, they all had the same supply, which was 107 total. But the other ones had a little bit more, depending on which of the categories you were in. And in order for you to get what you had said, Mokus, a super set, which was highly coveted and very expensive, you needed to have 1 of every single accessory. So you needed all 28. You needed 1 of each. Back then, at time of mint, that was roughly around, because ETH was roughly around a little over 3K, it cost you a little more than $6,000. So if you were going to do this, you would have had to have, you needed to be in position to do it because they went pretty quickly, but also you'd need to invest about $6,000 completely blind, right? I mean, you were going completely unknown. Talk about trusting the process. So I can see why those folks are being rewarded in the manner that they are, because you needed all 28. Now, a strong set is if you had 1 of each category, meaning all 7 posters, all 7 videos, or all 7 music tracks, etc. And a regular set was if you had 1 of each category, meaning you had video number 1, poster number 1, music track number 1, and article number 1. That would get you a regular set. So those were the 3 sets, categories, and kind of how they worked. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, it started with these articles which you could mint, just like the Henlo ones, as far as I know.
They were a little bit different than the Henlo articles, but yes, the premise is the same, Mokus. Exactly. They were basically mirror. Yep, you could mint them, and you had to sit on them for again quite a while before you actually realized any sort of benefit. So kudos to all those folks that were able to do it. And yes, they are trading, or they have traded. Originally, Doc, as you had said, you just needed those articles. But about, I don't know, I'd say 6-7 months ago, Den, keep me honest here, what they had done is they had snapshotted and then they had made a collection where it was actually broken out into the actual sets, regular set, super set, and strong set. And they made they snapshotted it and they said, hey, all the articles are now worthless, right? We're not using those anymore. That was in the past. We snapshotted. And here is, and what they had done is they had airdropped those new NFTs that kind of consolidated, if you had a set, to your wallet. So that was in your wallet. It basically was like a little NFT. It looked like books, basically, or books on a shelf, depending on which one you had. So that's how they kind of made it easy for you to be a super set, strong set holder moving forward.
Yeah. So when I started buying them or minting them or buying them off Mirror and Paragraph, obviously I didn't really have. I didn't when Johnny had mentioned that the supersetters would get Teddy whitelist, Mibera whitelist, etc. I thought a superset was just holding all 28. I went and bought multiple sets of 28, but actually they had been snapshot and dropped an NFT, which is trading on OpenSea, and I think I saw the superset selling for like 12 Ethereum the last I checked. So
Wow.
that was just like last month, yeah.
Yep, you nailed it. That's I saw it at about 10 ETH. I think someone managed to snag one for like 5 ETH at some point. But that
Yeah, I
said,
saw that one. I saw that one for 5 ETH. I went back to buy it and it'd gone. I was like, yeah, there's no chance I'm spending 12 ETH. I don't have that. Yeah.
so I guess hey, before you beat yourself up about it, the way to look at it is once this goes to secondary, if you invest 5 ETH and you can get more than 27, because that's all the supersetters get is 27 Miberas. If you take
Wow.
that 5 ETH and you can get more than 27, you actually made out.
True.
Yeah. And you will get all the partner NFTs on top. So Steady Teddies, Ooga Booga Bears, I think, Baby Bera, and the other which will launch. So yeah, it's crazy. And imagine, I'm a bit more neutral. So I'm not only in Berachain. I love Berachain the most, but I'm also active on other ecosystems. They have difficulties to mint out a collection with $100, $200 mint price, and now we're talking about people bought imaginary NFTs and they don't know what they will get and spend 5 ETH on it. So it's so crazy to see. Jenny also mentioned they already raised, I think it was $1 million of this mint. So they already have a lot of money, and yeah, it's crazy to think about it.
There's no shortage of interest, Mokus, as you said. We're going to see the true appetite here in about 8 minutes, right? When those of
Yeah.
us
Oh,
with
yeah.
guarantee, have an opportunity to actually get in there. We'll see how many actual folks do. And again, we have 24 hours, right? I think that's right, Mokus, isn't it? We have 24 hours for the next few phases. Is that? I think Jenny shared that on the space. Is that correct?
Yes. So maybe I can share my screen. I will pull up the mint page, the honeyroad.xyz. Those who have a guaranteed whitelist, they can check it out. So here it is. There is a countdown, opens in 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So we will wait for the mint, and we will have 24 hours to mint our guaranteed NFT. It's kind of like a pre-sale, so you send 30 free barras, and then you have to wait, and then we will go immediately to the second phase. That's what I don't really get for now. For those 42% of the total supplies, it was with the stackable mints. So I don't know what will happen. This will be maybe reduced, and what will happen to the second phase. Will it be more over allocated, or it's one mint per wallet and you can't participate in other phases neither? We will have to wait for Jenny to clear this, but as far as I understood it, it's really one per wallet, and you can't mint. If you minted in phase 1, you can't mint in phase 2, 3, or 4. So we will have to check it out. Yeah, I'm getting a bit nervous, a bit anxious. I don't know. What do you think? How much will it be like an individual NFT? So, as Dan mentioned, we will only need one, but this one should be what we are loving, what we will maybe share as a PFP. Maybe we will love that. We will need to fall in love with this NFT. So, what do you think? Will it be randomized? So there will be no connections to your person, who you are. Maybe I think Jenny has an insight about your footsteps in the Better Chain ecosystem. So maybe this will show in the traits of the NFTs. Would you keep your first mint and take it what it is, or would you love to search for those traits which resonate with you? What you guys think?
I'll go first, Moksa. For me, yeah, I'm searching for something really specific. And that's why I was hoping to mint multiple. I'm looking for a seafarer with Scorpio, water element. I'm hoping that she can hold some nutmeg, and I'd like to have a hat. So I'm looking for something real specific. I doubt highly that I'm going to get that, and she has to be an ancient. I want an ancient as opposed to a modern. Just me. So there's a lot of things. If I get that, of course, I mentioned not only will I have to change my PFP, I'm probably going to die with that in my wallet. So I am looking for something really specific. So for me, yeah, I'm going to be looking to potentially buy on secondary, or somehow if this goes to public, mint some more. So for me, I'm going to definitely be looking to get more because I'm looking for something so specific.
Nice. Someone mentions in the comments that airdrop phase just ended. I don't know. Did you check your wallets? You already see something?
I did see that on the site. Yeah, it's so anyone that was in the airdrop phase should have either claimed. Again, I know I'm not in it, so I don't know if it was a claim or if they just sent it to, you got to hit it in order to get it airdropped, or if it just happened. But yep, that, to your point, ended. I think it was 5 minutes prior to the mint. So I think we're about 3 minutes out then from guarantee.
Yeah, nice. Maybe I can check. But that's on another screen, so I have to share another screen. For those who don't know,
if you share it, the airdrop phase is in the upper right corner of the same page that you were sharing before. There was a little countdown timer up there, and it looks like it just ended.
Yeah, but I need to open it in another tab because it was my Friendtech account. I get this airdrop to my Friendtech keys. So yeah, I need to connect my wallet. Hopefully, I'm not sharing.
We need a
here.
drum roll. We need a drum roll here. We need a drum roll.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, we're about to get a reveal. We're about to get a reveal here.
Oh my.
Eligible. I have 4 because I was diamond handing it. I had 2 Friendtech keys, and I get 2 each. I had 2 keys. I get 2 airdropped, and because after the snapshot I hold the keys, I get 2 additional ones. So in top I've got 4. So I don't see where I can see it.
You may need to just check your wallet. Did you check your wallet to see if they're in there? They may be in
no.
already.
No, not yet. Maybe in Magic Eden. Will they show something? You won't receive it today. So okay. No, I don't see anything. Okay. So yeah, 50 seconds to go. Everyone connect your wallet to the site. Get ready. We should have some music here. Maybe I can play something.
Mokus, are you going to be minting phase 1 live and sharing it, or do you not have phase 1? You only had airdrop.
Yeah, I have one phase 1, so I can share it. Yeah, of course.
What's everyone's tactic? Are we minting as soon as possible, or waiting till the end?
Right away.
It's so crazy, Doc, right?
I can't wait.
You don't want to make a mistake, right? Especially if you only have 1 and you're like, oh my goodness, I want something so specific.
7,
Should I wait?
6.
I know.
4, 3, 2, 1. So let's go.
Oh, deposit.
Deposit.
Oh, it's live.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
click on deposit
so
and get robbed.
I'm guessing that this is for the first come first serve. Everybody will deposit their bearer and then claim a refund if they're not chosen. Is that the case?
Yes. So it won't
Yeah.
be botted.
Yeah.
It will be collected, and then at the end it will be raffled so that everyone has the same chance.
It says waiting
So
for results for me. What does it mean? Like
yeah,
I'm getting chosen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
think
think
Getting
that
robbed again.
I think that's only for phase 2, right? Phase 1 is you deposit, you're
Yeah.
guaranteed to get it. Phase 2, I think, Mokus, is what, like you said, that since that's over allocated, if
Yes,
every single person participates, they'll hold it and then they'll do the raffle. But for this phase that we're in now, we're guaranteed, so we should get our Mibera or our parcel, right? We're going to get our parcel.
Oh yeah.
Right away.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I meant the second phase because someone asked, but yeah, now it shows waiting for results.
Nice. And the
But I
fourth
am waiting.
phase is open for everybody. Fourth phase is open for everybody, even if you minted first, I feel like.
Yes. That's the public phase. We don't know if it gets to this phase because phase 3 will have, okay, it's Honeycomb. I think unique wallets in Honeycomb, I think there might be 5 or 6K, maybe some overlaps here, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they got that phase. Remember, they have the Honeycast, they have Honeycomb, and they also have Milady MFers are in there too. Yeah. So there's going to be a few. I know that a lot of them were sybiled out, but I'm anxious to see how deep we go into 3.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere we can check the statistics of how many have deposited? Like normally on Ethereum, we'd have a wallet address we can check. But I'm really
Someone
curious.
shared here a link. Bearer scan. Maybe I can.
There's 13,000 Bera in the deposit contract right now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what would we need to do then to
Filled
buy
up
the
quickly.
13,000 Bera?
Wow. You crazy guys.
Divide by 33.
That's what I was
You guys
thinking.
know
Yeah,
we have 24 hours. You don't have to send it in the first second.
I think there's this thing like with Ethereum NFTs. The sooner you get in, the more likely you'll get a lower number, and lower numbers are worth more psychologically.
Yeah.
Possibly. But I don't know how that works with the fact the first half have been airdropped. So I guess we're getting 4,000 plus token numbers. 4,000. Yeah.
And those 27 per whale is also counted in these numbers or no?
No, because they got airdropped, so they didn't have to pay for it. That's an additional. I think Jenny mentioned for 45%. I think there was 3,500, if I'm not mistaken. So we are now around 4K NFTs, which are gone, which are minted, taken, pre-deposited. Yeah. Where is Jenny? Hey.
He's hiding after all the people he wrecked.
Let's summon him.
Summon him.
No, maybe he's busy. But yeah, live for another 23 hours, 55 minutes. We already have 17K Bera in the deposits. Nice.
I'm just going to add what I did.
Excited.
I actually didn't have any Bera this morning to mint, so I actually took out a loan against my bread. So that was quite cool.
Now that is a veteran move. That is a veteran move right there. Well played.
I tell you, I am deeply, deeply, deeply down the rabbit hole. Yeah.
I did the same. So I deposited to this bread thing, but didn't took out a loan. Now I just took out the loan, but I think that's what you should do. But yeah, not financial advice. Yeah.
Definitely financial advice.
It's an interesting point
So
around financial advice. If you're about to go buy a comic book as an investment, and I tell you that that's a bad idea because I don't think it's good financially, am I giving you financial advice? And if so,
yes,
is that illegal?
I don't know where's the line between what's legal, what's not illegal. Yeah, doesn't make really sense. But you know, we are here in crypto, and you want to be self, to be responsible for your actions. So um, when somebody says, hey, buy this or buy that, a random guy on the internet, and you just copying him, then basically you are the dumb one. So I don't know if you can blame someone who's
Lamar.
saying buy this or buy that. Yeah, we are humans, so we should take responsibility for our actions and don't blame others. But it's a legal disclosure, so to say it's not financial advice. Yeah.
With
You know
that
So
what should
said,
be illegal? You
I,
know what
I
should be illegal? Depositing into public bread vault if you're a super whale. I missed all the vaults, and then I was looking at public vault, and I was like, give me a second to swap everything, and I will come back to deposit. It was at 37%, and then in 2 minutes or so, OG uncle came in, and he just filled it up 70%, right in
Wow.
front of my faces. And next day, I saw people on the timeline like, "Oh, I feel like a little fish in the sea of all those like rich people." I'm gonna cry now, and I'm like definitely feeling the pain.
Oh yeah, the chain has gluten in it, someone says. Kapitan. um yeah, 575 minted and climbing, and I heard the sound. Oh no, it's, yeah, the background something. Math is not mathing. Yeah.
as we wait for them to be delivered, guys, and kind of see what we're going to get, how interested are you in the phase reveal? Right, I think Janny pretty much settled on once a week, right? Maybe he talked about every Thursday, potentially every Tuesday and Thursday we would get two. And I think, wasn't it, Mokus, this first phase, once the parcel's revealed, we're just going to get a general shadow, right, with the background, right? That's what we can expect upon first reveal, is just the shadow with the background. Is that, am I understanding it correctly? That's what I thought I heard.
So I have this document. I can share it with you. I hope Jenny doesn't mind. So that's what he shared last time. It's phase 0 now. It's a parcel. So I don't know if there will be time spent between phase 0 and phase 1, and we have to determine the time span between those phases. I think in overall we have 8 phases, and we have, let's say weekly, we will have a show where we will touch on these phases specifically. So in phase 1, that's what you mentioned, there's a shadow and there's a background. So in phase 1 you will see this shadow and a blurred background, and we will discuss then the black backgrounds. And then phase 2, you will have an overlay, you will have a figure, so you reckon that it's slightly different than this generic shadow. And then phase 3, we have a figure, so you see basic traits, and you have also this overlay, and yeah, eyebrows, eyes, mouth, neutral. And I love this process because you can really dive deep into each trait, and you can hear a lot of stories from Jenny about the thought process and what's the reasoning behind those traits. What's You will get maybe some alpha. What's the rarity? So maybe you can speculate on them. What is worth to keep? What is worth to maybe flip for some of those who do that? And then, yeah, every phase will reveal some new thing. And the especially good one about it is that you have phase 7 and you think it's okay, it's already almost done, but at the phase 8 you can get some very rare traits which makes this whole NFT a one of one. So only at phase 8 you will know if you got a one of one or not, and you can bite your ass off if you have a phase 7 and you sold, and 1 week later it turns out, oh, you sold a one of one for basically a floor. And that's the beauty about it. And I'm very, very feel honored to be part of it and to make this podcast with Jenny. And yeah, I think it's a very, very well done process where what we are sharing. And yeah, what do you think, guys?
You know, Mokus, I'm not gonna lie, man. I definitely went back to the streams you had with Janny and was re-listening to them, man. Like they
Me
were
too.
such great streams, by the way, but there's such a depth of information. And for me, I'm not someone who really counts on luck. And I have way too many NFTs in my wallet, both rare and not, that aren't worth anything, you know? So like at this rate, we all have the one, you know, and we all know that the big reveal, you know, the potential one of ones are in phase 8, right? So they left it open that way. I think Janny was saying in your last space, so that like people could have that DeFi gamble degen moment to go ahead and swap what they think might be important, what might not be, but realize you're forsaking a certain aspect that you might get value in phase 8, you know, and that's just to the individual's decision. And I'm sitting there, I'm saying I don't care, let it ride to phase 8 and beyond, you know?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. um yeah, what do you think, Mix? Mix is not muted. Yeah, he's muted.
Yep, of course I got a call right as
Ah.
you were asking the question.
Rugged. Maybe it
For
was
me,
Jenny
this
to rug you.
part, Janny's trying to rug me as because this is the alpha. I mean, this is what you've shared here and what you had in the prior space. This is the alpha. I imagine there's a lot of folks that didn't know about this. In fact, they would only know about it if they watched your last show. But for me, this I think is what really allows you to understand the complexity, because
Yeah,
remember the generation of the Mibera, right, is kind of in line with the reveal of the Mibera, right? Because how a Mibera is generated, it's a 7-step process, right? You have initial generation, phase 1, shuffle and clean, phase 2. Phase 3 is when it determines if it's an archetype, you know, the ancestor, the heir is determined. And then phase 4 is when you get your layer rank assignment, right, where you kind of get a swag score. And then 5 is the final swag score. 6 is where that assigns the birthday, right, where you actually will have a birthday assigned. And then 7 is the final cleanup and where the metadata is applied. So when you think about how it's being created, that's the backside, right, the stuff we don't see. And now, again, as he revealed with you, there's actually going to be a reveal process, how you see this stuff. It lines up for me with how it's being created. And for me, man, it's like, again, these NFTs, they've been imbued with personhood, you know, like you actually have how this was designed at the code level is just so impressive to me,
yeah,
because again, you're getting just your standard traits and everything, but remember that, like, for instance, the birthday, right, it calls back upon phase 3 in the creation. Okay, this error has been determined. It's determined that it's an ancestor, for instance. So now the code automatically assigns a year, then it automatically assigns a month, and automatically assigns a day. Right? Boom, boom, boom. So now, okay, now you actually have a birthday. But then remember how it works, right? In terms of it then can get a longitude and latitude. This is real data, right? This is how it's actually made. It's real data that dials in somewhere on the map, and they apply a 69% filter. Again, meme mass is an important part of Bear religion. And so 69% of the collection will be, you will have your Mibera that was born on land. But the other 31% will be born at sea, right? You'll actually have a seafaring Mibera, potentially. So now you have your year, you have your month, you have your day, you know exactly where you were born. So what it does is it references real data that Jenny took. They worked meticulously at this, of where the star placement was in the sky at that exact moment in time, at that exact location on Earth, to determine your rising, right, your zodiac signs, all that stuff, and your risings. Absolutely incredible. So when you think about the level of work, for me, I'm so impressed. And yeah, it's a little nerdy, right? I go down those kind of rabbit holes. Yeah, I'm a big zodiac guy anyway, so of course I really vibe with it. But whether you're into that stuff or not, regardless, to say, hey, it's not really my jam, Den, but not really my thing. I think we can all agree that this collection is unique, right? Whether you're into, the zodiac, whether you're into, that kind of, rising and all that stuff, but it's so unique to me, guys. It's so, again, the level of detail. This is based on real data, right? It's not like, oh, we're just going to pretend that the stars were at this point and make this up. It's actually something that they went back and referenced. So for me, man, the reveal process is deeper than just, oh, hey, I see my Mibera has a hat, or, oh, hey, I see that it has some tattoos, right? For me, it's so much deeper because I've kind of, read up on the lore. And yeah, I'm kind of nerdy. So for me, man, this is really special.
Yeah, I love it. I have also my takes on it, but I don't want to speak always. Dan, maybe, or Anya.
Miggs added me for my sign there because he is an astrology buff. And I'm not saying I feel targeted, but I like the ability that it says that it's an accurate measurement or a stationary point at which this represents at that exact time, regardless of what it means, Miggs, in terms of the signs and everything. Okay, sir. I just want to point out, I do appreciate that type of value. And I think it is a very nice added aspect to the whole culture and lore of what Mibera represents.
You must obey the universe, sir. You must follow the energies and the vibes. I'm anxious for Doc and Anya's thoughts on the whole zodiac stuff.
Dude, I feel like, I didn't really know that it's generated based on like geolocation as well. I think it's like super cool because I got into crypto, building in crypto through the metadata basically also of NFTs. And I thought like, wow, that would be so cool to link it up with like a real space on Earth. So I'm like literally spaced out, like super cool. Also excited, and I love the aspect that, for example, like this collection compared to the other collections with the anime avatars, it has some kind of like a soul aspect to it, and also the birth, and kind of like speaks about rebirth and so on, and you can connect with it in a way you feel like kind of that it's a little bit deeper, and it's not like depersonalizing or identifying with it as a PFP, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not super like a paper doll, which is like dressed up. It's like generated data, and I don't know, in space. Super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant by how much of that is randomly generated and how much of that there are data driven, which determines then how your Mibera will look like. And that's what was making me thinking, okay, will I let it be So will I give it to the universe to determine how my Mibera will look like, or will I say, okay, I want with zodiac sign this or that? So that's again something you have to decide. And what I love about, not only about this process, but this art of reveal, especially, it's like NFTs are the next iteration of your expressions. So you have a PFP, you want to rock it, you want to say, okay, this is how I am, this is how I want to be looked at in the digital world. And it has internet culture, it has similarities to you, and this is how you want to represent yourself on the internet. And NFTs are kind of special because they're internet based, so they're digitally. They are also art, so you have these traits and you have this style, but they also this expression of yourself. So what I love about it is that it's kind of like how do you call that? It's action art. So when you go, like Jackson Pollock had
Time-based.
this,
Time-based.
yeah. So like Jackson Pollock did that with he took the paintings and just had this randomized process to create art. It was not about the outcome, but it was about the process. So you have here something similar where the process is also relevant, and the process is not only the NFT and its reveal stages, but the process is also Jenny got Rakdos. Jenny is not showing up here today, and we are here talking about it. The mint, everything counts into this lore of this NFT collection, and I really love it. Yeah, has anyone something to add on?
I think it's really clever that as you go through all the phases and layers, that much to Mig's point, he really gravitates towards the astrological aspects. Whereas maybe true to my sign, I gravitate towards the more science, the molecule aspects, the derived from nature aspects. So I really appreciate the depth and broadness that Mibera offers, not just in terms of like rave culture and understanding that, but all the individuals who might participate in that type of culture who are of different types of mindsets and values. So I think it's Mibera is, quite the broad area of which a lot of people can identify with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, Dan, as you mentioned, like, the science aspect, right? And we talk about that molecule right in the upper left corner, and kind of what that means. And, is it, some folks are like, oh, hey, it's kind of cool, right? And, it's science and all that stuff. And when you dig deeper, right, when you keep peeling back the onion, it's like every aspect of the four corners, right? Because if you look at a traditional NFT, if it's going to get a rarity score, it's typically, yeah, you have your rarity score in the left corner. But remember, Mibera has stuff in all four corners, right? The bottom left is your score. The bottom right is your element, which I think Mokus is going to be not revealed until 7, right? I think based on the article that you and Jenny had shared, I don't
Yeah,
think that gets till
phase
7.
7.
Yep. And then top left is the molecule, right? Like you kind of talked about, Dan. And top right
Yeah,
is more my thing, the astrological sign. And those will kind of be revealed at different points in time, because again, I think each of them has their own level of importance, right? And when you talk about that molecule, Mibera draws upon inspiration from both historical and contemporary movements, right? So when you talk about that molecule, like the one we always talk about, Dan, is the MDMA, right? The MDMA molecule specifically. Now, a lot of those drugs that we may or may not have partaken in, Mokus, at the rave. Again, we're going to listen and we don't judge,
we not
So,
judge. Yeah,
while we may or may not have partaken in that, a lot of that stuff is created from a natural molecule in nature or a plant potentially. And
Shout out Sassafras.
Yeah, there you go. And the example that Janny shared with us was like in Victorian times, if you consumed high doses of nutmeg, you would actually get a similar experience to taking MDMA. Not medical advice, but that
Oh.
that is something that you can kind of like, okay, so if your Mibera has holding nutmeg, right, it's kind of a call to the MDMA, right, and how it all kind of loops back together. The complexity, man, it just what appears on the surface of everything that we see there, it could just be taken at face value and it's like, hey, that's kind of cool, and it is. But if you want to go deep, like if you want to go down the rabbit hole that is Mibera, like first you better pack a lunch, but secondly, you probably need to take a high dose of nutmeg because it's going to get wild.
You know, Migs, a little bit maybe of a health humor there, but when they talk about dosages, they often say Migs per kg. You know, so is there something a bit deeper to the whole Migs name there?
One does what one can, Den. We'll leave it there.
Very nice. I love it. So I've got the information that Jenny will join us in the next 10 minutes, so he won't rug us again. I'm very excited to hear his opinion, what he thinks about the mint so far, and what was his thought process about the slashing these stackable NFT mints. Yeah, I want to touch on one point though. Someone asked in the chat, what is about the pool side of things? So what can we do with our Mibera? As far as I recall correctly, maybe we have to wait for Jenny, but there will be how do you call that? Liquid backing protocol. I think it will be. We have to wait for Liquid Mint to be activated, and most likely it won't happen before the 420. That's what I heard. So we have to wait for an additional month at least, and with this liquid backing protocol, we can take out a loan against our Mibera from a pool which is a collective pool which collects fund fees from revenue from the Honey Road site. There will be some specialties to buy, like you mentioned, MDMA. This will be guarded by AI agents, so you can get rugged by this process by buying MDMA and other drugs. So there will be a revenue share from that, and there will be also BGT rewards from the Honey Jar pool, which will be shared into this Mibera specified pool. So there will be some funds available, and you can get your pro rata share. That means you have 10,000 NFTs and you get one of 10,000 of this pool, which you can take out a loan against it. As I can recall, it's like either you pay a small fee for taking out a loan, and or you will have to pay an APR, but I think it's more like a fee. And if you don't pay back, this Mibera will get dumped on the market, and the funds will go back into this pool. And yeah, one thing Jenny shared is that he won't stop until this liquid backing loan won't be bigger than the floor price of a Milady. Milady trades at the moment currently at a 3.6 ETH floor. So that's a statement. We will have to see if that will happen. I'm As I said, I'm not here for the financial um, um, aspects of Mibera, but I love them. So it's very, very cool. I'm also a bit a DeFi guy, so I love Berachain. I love the opportunities, APR and yield farming. There was a sentence before that came into my mind. I came because of the money, and I stayed because of the culture. I think that sentence hits it. As you said, Mix, you have to appreciate the amount of effort which Jenny has put into this collection, and yeah, it's amazing. So I'm not that interested on the money part of it. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about
Mokus,
this
yeah,
liquid backing part.
I would like to talk about that a little bit. I would like to give
Yeah,
others an opportunity because I've got a lot to say on this part of it. But I would love to get feedback from the rest of the panel before I jump in, because this part of it is really, really important. I'd like to add some color to what you stated. So, but I'd love to hear from everyone before I jump in.
yeah. Anyone, any take?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I'm completely new to DeFi. Berachain has been my step into DeFi, and I found it all really exciting. I don't know if you saw that Gianni's planning to do a weekly space with myself and Ash on the DeFi aspect, because I'm a noob, so I'm going there to get schooled. So I don't really have anything smart to add, but I'm just enjoying the DeFi aspect of all of this, which is completely new to me.
I'll just say,
Okay.
like, for
Yes.
me, like, I've never been a big person in terms of large bag players. And like, while the percentages might be the same for the same plays, they're not as significant when you're not playing with large numbers. So for me specifically, while I enjoy the DeFi aspects, all the liquid backing, and all of these things, I'm here specifically for the vibe culture NFT aspect of it all.
So, Mix, I don't want to interrupt you, but here is Jenny. Hello, BM. How are you doing, Jenny? Oh, he
He
rugged us.
rugged.
That's
He rugged.
Jenny, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah. So you can Mix. You can finish your thoughts, maybe, and then.
That's the very definition of coming up for a cup of coffee. Right, right there. But no, I think there are two aspects, and we just highlighted them. Right, we've been talking at length about the culture and the vibes and the excitement and the depth of the actual collection. But there is a financial component, right? And it's for sure. And I appreciate the person that asked the question. And again, I think you outlined it very well, Mokus, to kind of what this all entitles. But there's really, let's really get granular here, because this is super important. So to your point, it does use the code of Liquid Mint, right? Which is basically, it offers a backing for a collection. This is a pretty novel thing. There's not a lot of collections that are doing this, which means you'll basically always have an opportunity to redeem, if you want to call it that, sell, default, whatever, on your actual Mibera to get X amount of money back in return. But I think what gets lost in the sauce here, it has Nouns DAO kind of veins, how the way Nouns DAO kind of works. But it's so much more than that, because you think, okay, well, what's going to go into this backing, right? Like, where's the money coming from, right? Is it just going to, magically appear? Like where's the money coming from? And when you think about what Janny's done here in terms of the avenues for revenue, so you talked about a few of them, Mokus. Number one, the Honey Road, right? Basically, we're going to have an opportunity to, like you said, buy NFTs, drug NFTs from AI vendors, right? And all that money is going to
So
go
cool.
into the backing, right? Okay, so you got, wow, that's revenue. That's cool. I know I'm going to be in line trying to buy a bunch of drugs, and I'll get rugged and be bad. Like, hey, did you send it? No, I sent it, right? And all it's going to be, and some of it's going to get seized, right, from the authorities. Oh, your NFT got seized, right? So that's going to be fun and exciting and engaging. But then you also have the fees from the tributaries, right? And to your point, Steady Teddies is one that's coming up. Now, any NFT collection that's going to be a part of a tributary of Mibera, a percentage of their mint funds will funnel to this backing. and it varies between 10% and 40% of the mint price, the total mint funds, depending on the white glove treatment that is going to be exhibited from Mibera. So there's another avenue. Then you also have the fees from the royalties, right? So don't forget that Mibera is a ER 721 AC. So royalties are enforced, and that's a 4.2% fee anytime these things are sold, right? So that those royalties go to the backing. Also, as you mentioned, Mokus, if someone takes a loan, and Janny did say that hopefully there'll be no fee on the loan. He was thinking about it. Let's hope that he goes with that, which would be even better. But if anyone does, for whatever reason, default on the Mibera, it gets sold back to the market at the liquid backing price plus a premium, and that goes into the backing. And then you have Mibera Shadows, right? The vending machine that Janny has talked with us about, where you can pay $4.20 and make your own Mibera, whatever traits you want, which is whenever that opens, I'm going to be in line day one to get that Seafarer Ancient that I talked about, not mind the protocol emissions itself from the chain itself as it hooks into POL. No one can compete with this. There's not a single NFT collection across any chain that can compete with this from a financial aspect. I don't think there's another one that can maybe compete from a cultural aspect either. And that's not saying that, you know, all those great collections don't have a ton of history and foundation. I appreciate all of them. But I would say that this rivals it. And I know we're in our infancy. We were just born, what, an hour ago? But I imagine that certainly the cultural aspect is going to rival a lot of these tenured collections. But the financial the piece, as you mentioned, the questions that we had in the chat, Mokus, when you talk about those 5, 6 different streams, and those are just the ones we know of, I'm certain that something else is probably going to manifest. But if you want to talk about, you know, the financial components of Mibera, you don't need to look any further than what's already been developed. So I know we talked a lot about them, but as we add more color and more detail to them and it comes more to the surface, I think it's easier to appreciate what's been built here.
Yeah, very well said. So hopefully Jenny doesn't rug us again. Hello, Jenny. How are you? BM.
Hello, and furthermore, Mibera. How are you folks?
Mibera. We've got our ones. We minted. We didn't get rugged, so we are happy.
Wow. Have you got your parcel in hand? A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, as I say. Wow. We could still rug. In hand. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, as I say. Well, we could still rug. 2 in hand.
Oh,
last we saw, I don't think it was delivered yet, right, Mokus? It was still being delivered. When you were sharing your screen with us, have you received your parcel?
Hang on, folks. No. Is there a super big delay? I was hearing myself almost a full 15 seconds later. Can you hear? If I start counting, can someone repeat the next number? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Seems okay. Okay, I don't know what that was.
It was a bit of echo. Maybe you started the stream somewhere else. No, it's fine. No, we haven't received our parcels yet. I don't see them.
That's expected behavior. So okay. In this, we're separating the concerns. At the moment, we are taking your money. It's a very similar experience to anyone who did actually use Silk Road. Maybe if you consider that the Honey Road is the escrow agent, but the parcel's in the mail. Will you get it? Will you not get it? Who knows? Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Jenny, that process sounds eerily similar to what one might be able to expect from the AI agents on Honey Road.
Oh, 100. Like, we cannot be held responsible for the whims, approaches, and sense of industry of our vendor simulacra AI agents. So we provide the platform between mutually consenting trading partners. Some of you may be organic in nature, some may be more on the kind of silicon-based end of the spectrum. Baby Barretts, the Silk Road, we're referencing an ancient trade route between civilizations. It was one of the primary distribution modes for many of the herbs, spices, fabrics, thoughts, poetry, science, heresy, alchemy that have informed life up to this point. So I hope that helps. I wanted to, if it's okay, because I don't know how long I have, I just want to kind of talk about this one mint per person thing. Is that all right?
Please, yes. Yeah, please. I wanted to ask.
Yes. Okay. So I want to share 3 ways, a Triskelion of fuck ups on Janny's part. Part 1. Let's call it BGT. So on the 31st of December 1991, moving into 1992, there was an incredibly massive rave in the Roundhouse in Camden. If you've been to London, you've maybe been there. It's now been restored to quite kind of a wonderful state. It's an institution in London for art and culture. This was not the case in the early 90s. In the early 90s, it was abandoned, completely, purposefully surrounded in rubble. And so it was owned by the Metropolitan Police. So it's completely abandoned, falling into disrepair. And so a bunch of raggle-taggle folks from Spiral Tribe and from a crew called the Normals. And I'm talking here, the rubble, you have to imagine it was like above your head style. And so this crew, the Normals, who basically they had this massive military transporter, like a 6-wheel deal, came in and drove over that rubble to get in through a side street. They brought speakers, the generators, all of that stuff, and established this as the zone that would become the place that many people in London for that New Year's Eve and for the surrounding days kind of celebrated the span and dawn of a new year. Of course, that 6-wheeler was previously owned by the Moscow State Circus. These people kind of knew what they were doing, but it's a feat. It's a process of co-creation that everyone has to be involved in. Without going too far into the details, there was one of the things I wanted to mention from a lot of my reminiscing is that I don't mean to present stuff with rose-tinted spectacles. I don't mean to look at it just purely romantically. There was a lot of problems. There was like a lot of shit that folks had to deal with, both kind of internal to the culture, external. On this particular night, the people who were meant to be there helping with kind of security and safety within the zone, because of course we could never go to the police for that, they ended up doing too much cocaine. Or by the second night, they fell asleep. And basically the space became really kind of full of muggers. If you don't know what a mugger is, someone who was coming in to rob people. And so it was a bit of a gnarly type of a zone. So to connect this, the first mistake that Janny made was, and I apologize for this, is that whilst I have been hand curating this, the whitelist, and conceiving of and in dialogue and speaking with folks in the community, developing, as you can see, we've kind of, rather than just going straight to Magic Eden, we're doing this pre-mint. We didn't want people to feel rushed. We wanted folks to be able to get in that we've connected with since October. This is kind of an iterative process. The design of this thing that you're using, you can consider it a living presentation of the dialogue and co-creative input of probably hundreds of people by this point from the wider NFT sector, from bearers, from the DeFi side. Now, I don't want to make excuses, but I've been operating at a lower standard than I expect of myself. I have been had some type of mind virus, and I've made a number of mistakes. One of those mistakes was that as the condition for phase 1 was that I had some type of a personal connection, even if it was a fleeting interaction on the timeline where I got a sense of you. These were the people in phase 1. Now, I took a shortcut with phase one in the sense that I made the logical leap, which now, in retrospect, is very obvious. But I made the logical leap that by bringing in bearer projects, that they would hand curate their whitelist with the same, let's say, attention to detail as me. And I'm sorry for making that assumption. I don't know why I did, because to be honest, through this process of trying to develop the whitelist, I've learned a lot. And I was very naive and ignorant about a lot of the way that stuff worked. And it was kind of irresponsible and totally unrealistic of me to make that logical leap that because we've been building alongside bearer projects for the last 2 years, that everyone who came in their doors would necessarily be of the same spirit as we had been curating in phase one. So to go back to the Roundhouse rave, my bouncers, they did a lot of coke and they fell asleep. And so the moment that I realized this, that folks, that I'd made this mistake in kind of logical leap, actually was on your timeline, Mokus. I was getting bullied basically by this person who was like, we can put up a link to it, but basically was so, I love this person. They're just such a pure bad vibe of such stench of like vibration that it woke me up. I was like, who the fuck are you? And what the hell is going on? Where have you come from? Looked into his account, clearly a Sybil. If he'd pasted his ETH address, it was connected to 4 or 5 other accounts. All of them have under between 10 and 100. As soon as you push back at them, you start getting pushback from a whole load of other Sybil accounts. And then once I started drilling down, I realized, oh, this person's come in through a bearer project. And then that was the moment where I had the wake up call where I was like, oh, fuck, I've fucked up here. I've like, from end of September, early October, have been meticulously hand curating this list. And then right at the end, fine, I've had a virus, my mind's not working and whatever, but you know, impact matters a lot more than your intentions here. And I really messed up in that side of things. So that was when I went back and then we started doing data analysis into everyone who had come into phase one through the bearer eco. And as predicted, it's for the most part, very, let's say, there's a big divergence between the on-chain quality of the many of these. I'm not going to say every bearer project. There are some real standout projects where they have meticulously curated and they know their community. Big shout out to the Yetards, to Raymond, and to, for example, Nara, to name a few. And you can really see this by the fact that those projects are deep in their community. They have active spaces. It makes sense that they know their crew. Similar with THC, Bullers, the projects where they have a really vibrant and healthy, let's say, immune system socially, no problem. But there was one bearer project that submitted like 100% like fresh wallets. Now, in an organic situation, that never happens. And so that was mistake number one. We'll call that BGT. That's our friends did cocaine at the party, fell asleep, muggers came in. But ultimately, the responsibility is on Jani's. That was my kind of fuck up. Now, having dug into that, I then discovered another mistake that I'd made. So this is mistake number 2. I'm going to call this one honey. This one was just a super fucking dumb mistake on my part. In the spreadsheet that I'd been keeping, I'd been extremely OCD, autistic, kind of like anal about this. I hadn't let any of the rest of the team really participate in the construction of the whitelist, because I have a vision for how this should be going, and it's difficult to communicate that because so much of it is coming from a resonant frequency in my gut. And it, to be honest, I took shortcuts. Now, this is an anti-pattern that I should say sorry for, because of course, with enough eyes and enough brains, all bugs are shallow. And so there was a bug in the whitelist database where essentially I had not summed a column, quite a big one, which then meant that it was essentially the incubation fee for THJ was not taken into account. And so what had then happened is when the team kind of came in towards the end and said, how can we help? I said to Fedor, Petra, I was like, hey, I think we're in really good shape. Can you guys just handle the Bera Eco, right? Because we know them, you have the contacts. And then they were like, okay, well, how many whitelists can we hand out? And I looked at the whitelist database and I was like, wow, I've been so on top of this. We're in really good shape. Here, you can distribute this number of spreadsheets and whitelist spots. And so then they created a kind of system for categorizing based on length of time we've known each other, kind of level of partnership and this type of thing. So in this process of the mistake number one, the top level, the BGT, the cocaine, the falling asleep, the getting mugged, underneath that, I then realized, oh, fuck, we have a much deeper problem here in the sense that we've got the figures are off here. And this is bad. This is much worse than the first thing. The first thing is fine. At worst, it means you get a bunch of JEETs. There's enough sidelined by pressure that that's not going to be a problem. But it's more kind of the ambience and the vibe. The next one, I was like, fuck, this is actually much more of an existential threat because depending on how we handle this, like we've very publicly said, phase one is 1-to-1 guaranteed. So we have to commit to that. But now we've overloaded it. We've overloaded it and we've drawn down essentially from not just our own buckets, but buckets that were aligned to the super setters, to the strong setters, to these types of things, right? So it was a rock and a hard place. So I wrote up an A, B, C, D. And by the way, this was all happening and now, right? The only reason there was a delay is because I was waiting for uptake to render the new video with the new date in the video, right? So in a big way, like the universe delaying these things really saved our hide here. So I came up with 4 different solutions, presented it to the team. I was like, hey, I've massively fucked up. Here's how it happened. How do we take ownership and fix this? It cannot impact the public. So how do we, and it also cannot impact the supersetters and all of the people from phase 0, but this is an impossible set of math. How do we make this work? So that's mistake number 2 of Jenny's. And the price of entry, and we're going to get into this, is a public display of fallibility. I had a mini breakdown, to be honest, but on an ego level. Because up until that point, I was feeling extraordinarily pleased with myself about, look at what we've pulled off. This whitelist database is a piece of art. It's really curated so well. I was really getting mentally, internally speaking, to be honest, my ego and kind of, it was, you know, I was starting to, my feet were not on the ground. And of course, as often happens in my life, anytime I get into that state, the universe very swiftly enters and says, you've got too big for your boots. It's time to raise you to the ground. And we're going to do this in a very public way because you have chosen to be very public about this. And so there's no way around it. But I say this not as a, I love the Jester universe. I'm here, I'm on the cross. I'm like, looking across to my left. I'm like, oh, first time. We got this. This is good. Let's kickstart the next round. So this is how the universe looked after Janny, right? In this process, so the mistake under the mistake, right? So we've got 2 layers of mistake here. Now we're at the honey, right? This is the root and the heart of the matter. In the past, when we've been putting on free parties, we've made the error of outsourcing the security, to be honest. So not in the case of people doing coke and falling asleep, but there has been instances where if we've run a free bar, put on a party, there was meant to be people helping with security. And then at the end of the party, the security fucking rob you. They steal your speakers, they steal all the money. if you're lucky, they don't beat you up and then they fucking get out of there. This level of, let's say, it's a thing that has happened, right? And so in the process of looking through A, B, C, D options with the team, accepting my fallibility, I fucked up. I was like, please help me. I'm not thinking straight. I'm really upset. How do we do this in a way where the top priority is, number one, we need to be able to follow through on our commitments. And number two, it cannot impact people's in phases 1 and 2 and 3. But it feels to Gianni like an impossible calculus. How do we fix this? And one of the things that emerged from this discussion is we realized that there was a massive, absolutely massive misunderstanding and let's say miscommunication between the smart contract dev and Gianni and the front end dev. So prior to this point, the front end, as it displayed to people, where they had a certain number of mints per category, that was the intended design of Gianni's curation process. My thinking was if you're falling asleep on stimulants, you're hella neurodiverse. I'll put it that way. The thinking that Gianni had, and I think, to be honest, the universe told me, this is your ego speaking here. You're wrong, right? But my thinking was that if you hand curate a crowd, that actually it's okay if some people have 10 Miberas. It's okay if some people have 8, because you've selected the right people who deserve that. As if I'm God, I get to decide who's more worthy or who's not in this type of sense, right? And so the major difference in this process of trying to figure out how to fix it, upon closer inspection with the smart contracts, they were only ever going to be able, they were designed in such a way to only let each unique wallet mint one, right? And that was based on something that Gianni said a long time ago that I'd forgotten, right? But, not to make excuses, but because I've been sick, I had planned in the week before the Mibera launch to product manage to a closer degree the launch sequence and work backwards, which I normally do, right? Other people are much more organized than me. I am chaos. But that's my normal approach, and I dropped the ball there. But within 30 minutes or 20 minutes of announcing the mint and all the details, it turned out that now the real choice was, do we pause the mint and stop and then try and figure something else out and rewrite the contract and change the logic and do the peer review audits? Or I got Purif and folks to run data analysis on the whitelist database. And basically the database as it is, when each unique wallet can only mint one, is perfect. It settled almost perfectly around what's been publicly communicated, right? The difference, though, is that a much larger number of people have the opportunity to mint one. And those people who, to be honest with you, prior to the Bera Eco projects coming on board and their whitelists, the maximum, one person had 8, right? They were an outlier. One person had 7. About 3 had 6, maybe 4 had 5, and many had 4, 3, 2, and 1, right? And actually, I think that people having maybe 4 is maybe a bit more equitable. But once the bearers started coming in, you had a lot of people with like 10 and like 8, just a really much larger number. And actually, when I look at it and I let go of the ego side of stuff, I accept I made mistakes. I think that the outcome here, whilst it wasn't intended, and whilst it was born of a Triskelion of mistakes, I, speaking from a spiritual level, think this is what the universe wants, folks. And it wasn't us trying to pull the rug over your eyes. It was born of a bunch of mistakes made in thing. And to be honest with you, and I love this person, right? Had this, the mugger not come and like really harassed me and woken me up, I think it would have been much more disastrous to open up the mint today. People arrive and be like, I'm going to mint 10. And then they're able to mint 1. And then behind the scenes, we're like, what the fuck is going on? On the timeline, you've got thousands of people going, what the fuck is going on? I really think that would have fucked the party in a big way. And so that's the whole thing, folks. It is the way that it is. I will say, for those of you saying that information was given to people on the side, if you don't trust Janny or the THJ team, I'm not here to try and convince you otherwise, but what I can say is there's a team of 20 plus people who all watch this unfold in real time. So if there is someone on the THJ team that you do have a connection with, you can authenticate this or not. And if you don't trust Janny and you do think this is all just kind of some big whatever, maybe this isn't the project for you. And maybe this has been a valuable and important process for you to get to see that early on. Like if you think there's funny business going on. But that's the deal. Like I'm a fallible human. I'm more of an artist than an engineer. I'm more chaos than I am disciplined. And sometimes the way people communicate to me infers to me a level of entitlement or a projection onto me that in some way dehumanizes me, in the sense that, like, you're not allowed to make mistakes, or I expected this, therefore I must be able to make money off of you, and roboticizes it. And I'm sorry to say, I'm just like the rest of you. I fuck up all the time. And thank you, Jester Universe, for giving me an opportunity to get humbled, because there was a period in there where when I reflect on it, was operating from an inflated ego at times. And I think that was good, that I had the opportunity to kind of learn in real time. But I'm going to stop now. That was a mega kind of spiel, but I don't know if I'm very happy to answer any questions about any aspect of it at all, or we can talk about something else, or I don't know.
I just want to say thank you for your transparency. You could have made up another story and tell lies, but you decided to be honest, and I very much appreciate that. I think there wasn't so many people touched by it. I think the big waves got their NFTs airdropped, so they're fine. Maybe those in the middle who were stacking up these whitelists were touched the most. So yeah, it is how it is.
I don't want to. So that it impacted about 600 people who had 2 or more, right? But the people who had, let's say, between 10 and let's say 5, that's like 40 people.
Yeah. So, but okay, I had 2. So, but I'm not yet. Now I'm not that disappointed. So it's either 1 or 2. It doesn't make a big difference. So, but those who stacked up only because of the whitelist, stacked up other ecosystem NFTs, they the one who get hurt. And fortunately, that's not the bigger part of the story. So they're not the majority who were affected. So yeah, thank you for your honesty. And I think we could discuss a lot about this topic, but maybe I want to come to the second part. So what happens in phase 2? Is phase 2 affected by it? Will it have more people? Okay.
No, so basically phase 2 will depend on how many people exercise their option in phase 1. Anyone who does deposit in phase 1 will get a parcel, 100%. And then depending on what percentage of the supply available to phase 1, 100% of it flows over to phase 2. And just to say, folks, like the only way we could make this work is the THJ team. We cut our incubation amount in half. That's the only way we could make this work. So it's not just folks who, and to be honest, that will impact, the ways that will impact the project is we now no longer have the supply to run project-owned liquidity. And we don't have the reserves to do some of the partnerships that we were planning to that would get us wider distribution. On the flip side, what I'll do is that just means that we're going to be in the market bidding.
Okay, interesting. So you heard it here, alpha. But yeah, it is how it is. I don't know, here in the round, someone want to react to this whole situation?
Hi, hello, Johnny.
Hello.
I'm going to say congrats on what I consider a successful launch so far. Mints are
Thank
happening.
you.
It's going smoothly. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. And you know me, I come from the ETH space. And I think we're used to seeing on that side of things, projects over allocating, saying that phases are guaranteed when they're not. So I'd much prefer that you under allocate, I guess, or start taking people's spots away than for us to face that. So yeah, no complaints here. Well done on everything, and pin up, I guess. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello, Jenny.
Yeah, that was to be one of the. I mean, I don't. If for those of you who were there, and in the timeline, as people were very not used to someone working in the open, and so I put draft version 1. Oh boy, did Jenny light like a lightning rod, folks being like, and that really, it was great. Again, I love people. I don't mean to go out and, let's say, dysregulate people, but when people do feel so outraged by something that you even say it out loud, that really was a strong steer. So I was like, oh, okay, phase 1, then you need it to be guaranteed. That's what's going to really feel better for a lot more people. Of course, it also shows you people not to work with, because if someone can't look at a draft and then come in and then basically flame the shit out of you based on a projection that you are 100% doing this, then it was really good. It basically showed us about 5 or 6 groups that we were just like, okay, I'm not going to work with you, but I'm on as well as let's say being a Death Eater on one end, I'm gentle on the other end. I see people in the audience here who belong to those communities, who stayed with the conversation and were willing to engage with Jenny, and then realize, oh, actually, you're not saying that's what you're doing. You're speaking to people, and there's quite a number of people now in the Miberas who are part of. Who were, to be honest, our first interactions with them coming and saying to Jenny, "You're such a fucking dick. We hate you." And but after chatting with them, we've realized, oh, okay, it was a misunderstanding. They're now inside Mibera. I think they're super chill. Some of them are artists. They've now started creating Mibera art. I think those types of experience. I try not to judge people based on their knee-jerk reactions, because we've all been there. You never know what's happening to the person on the other side. However, I have less tolerance for founders who come and attack other founders based on incomplete or inaccurate information without at least asking a question first to give someone the opportunity to speak for themselves. And so there was about, I'd say, 6 or 7 groups who we didn't work with them formally, but a lot of their members reached out, and we do work with their membership, But yeah, thanks, Doc. I do know as a space, there's a lot to it that could be improved. And I hope the way that we've gone about this has at least experimented with a few things.
100%. I mean, something I was really pleased to see, which I don't think was, I wasn't aware of, and just feeding back from the trenches, I guess, is that you've implemented the deposit and refund system for the first come, first serve. And that wasn't apparent to me until the site went live. Everybody, I mean, feeding back from the trenches, everybody actually had their bots ready to go crazy on the first come, first serve. So it seems that they do not need to use those bots anymore, and do not need to pay the bot as 30% of their profit or the floor price to mint those. So I'm really pleased
That's
about
crazy.
that.
I didn't even know about those fees.
Yeah, I know you've spoken about botters before. Like, some of them work with I don't want to knock anyone's business, like a job, occupation is an occupation. If you work as a botter and people are using your service, props to you. But they are making money from it. They're not doing it like from an altruistic nature.
Yeah, of course, it's a business.
So yeah. Exactly.
But it's not
so there
like
are subscription models.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. And I think
exactly.
Look, there's spades, right? There's spades, and we're living in a world that requires you to go and dig a hole to get somewhere everywhere, right? And so if someone's there being like, "Hey, I'll dig the hole for you for a fee," like that's chill. But Jenny's a much, like, I zoom out and I'm like, why do we need to dig a hole in the first place? Like, what's this about? And so, yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, but we've built off the back of these experiences. We've built an entire new product. I'm going to start raising for it soon, to be honest with you, because the problem is systemic. It's systemic across NFTs. It's systemic across every chain, and it's systemic across tokens, meme token, and whatever. The Genesis culture matters, and actually, this process has been incredibly painful. But it's a pain that every segment of the market is feeling. Whether you're a creator, whether you're a founder, whether you are someone out there trying to make it and get in, whether you are a sophisticated operator. Right now, just to use kind of information theory, the market is incredibly inefficient, let's say. And anytime you get a zone where everyone is feeling pain and every project is having to recreate the wheel, and it promotes this type of atmosphere, I strongly believe that this is contributing at least to some degree, I don't know the extent of it, to some of the bad vibes that you're kind of feeling in the trenches and in the sector, to be honest. That's my gut feeling. We'll see over time. But yeah, I've loved talking to you and getting to know you and the PLA folks and Funkari folks, and it's been a real moment of the Bera eco meeting the other kind of really deeply aligned projects that aren't Bera. It's been a fantastic opportunity, and I'll forever feel really grateful for the. I call you guys.
Feel the same. We feel the same.
Well, no, look, everyone in this space, I think, is a similar. You're all ambassadors and emissaries. Like you orbit many lands, and I think people who translate across contexts and care deeply in multiple worlds, I think you guys are wizards and magicians, and you deserve your flowers, because I believe you contribute to knowledge and conversations that move our space forward. That's my genuine kind of belief.
I think a lot of us are here, and sorry, Migs, I know you want to speak. I'll just leave it on this. I think like a lot of us are very relieved. Well, for me, I've been in the NFT or Web3 space because of the tech. I am that geek, and it's really refreshing to see everything that you and the Bera chain ecosystem as a whole are doing for the space, from the most basic level, like, in terms of addressing how whitelists are allocated, to a more tech level in terms of proof of liquidity, protocols and things. So I'm the geek who's excited about all of this. And that's why I'm here. And I just want to say thank you for all of that. And I'll let Mick speak, I guess.
No, based. Just before you stop, we're going to have a new regular spaces once all this craziness dies down, with Dark Nono, DeFi Ash, and myself, where we look at this intersection between DeFi, NFTs. To be honest, there's a bunch of stuff I'm a noob about in the NFT land that I reckon, Doc, you'll know more about. You're a DeFi noob, self-confessed. DeFi Ash is a bit more of a right curver than me. So having these open discussions, I think, it's really good. It's exciting. I'm feeling the good vibe again. Like I don't know what's happening. Don't know what's going to come next. But it's feeling vibrant, folks. I'm feeling exhilarated.
Yeah, we're making NFTs fun again, like the meme.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's fucking go.
Thank you. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Mix, you wanted to say something?
No, I did not have anything incredibly insightful to add. I think it was Den that was trying to speak earlier. It wasn't me.
Yeah. No, I said, hello, Jenny.
Hello.
Man, I'm not a Web3 operator, but professionally speaking, I was an operator. So a lot of what you said, man, that really hit home for me. Being on top of your game, feeling like everything's running 100, you're 100, and then really having to sit down and come to terms with yourself and listen to things and be like, yo, double down on your team and, rely on those who you can count on. And so I applaud that, man. That's something I've had to do myself. And I know how much that can really mess with the mindset, but also reaffirm that, the people that you've surrounded yourself with can be the right people. So shout out to you and the team for being able to do that.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be honest. I got what's the word I'm looking for? Complacent. I've been building with these folks for approaching 2 years, and I actually just simply, in the history of THJ as an organization, across the myriad of launches that we've had, right, and the myriad of you know how much of a industrious org we are, and how relentlessly and ferociously we ship, and not once can I put my finger on a time where there was such a foundational misunderstanding and kind of collapse in comms between our smart contract dev and our front end team and whoever the product manager is, certainly not me. And so I really do genuinely believe in this minute. It was a wake up call from the universe, but it was also a steer, right? They were like, okay, you've gone a bit off course. This is going to hurt, but it's good for you. But that moment of that thing of like, oh shit, the contracts bear no resemblance to the presentation of reality as communicated to the outside world, which is also where my mind is. That is an illusion, right? And the universe came in and was like, I'm going to cast away that which is not real, right? Sweet. And it's like, you walk up that hill and you own that, because like, actually you got complacent. You let your ego get in the way. And if I were in a different part of my life, I would pin it all on, I've got a virus, my mind's not working properly. But underneath that, the emotional state, I was getting arrogant. And so I thank you, just the universe. I do agree with you though, to loop back around to the story, to return us to the Roundhouse in Camden. On the eve of 1991, 1992, Christmas Eve, a 3-day party. At 6 a.m. On the second morning, someone, we don't know who, probably an undercover cop, came in and stole the fuse. All the power went out. The person who normally helps with electrics was sick at the time, wasn't there, right? So there wasn't anyone on site who was an electrician and knew how to do stuff. And then someone, I believe it was from Poland, rocks up and he's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And then sorted it out. I don't know this person's name, can't remember, so fuck it. Hooked up to the mains, which is an incredibly illegal thing to do. But then the party got started again and went for another day and a half, right? So I do genuinely believe that in moments of importance, the universe, if you remain a open and humble state, in that kind of flow, meme math, kind of like synchronicity engine, that you just got to trust the process. And so the thing that I've been saying to people is, yes, you've been rugged in one instance of 9 whitelists that you were expecting. And you are entitled to be pissed off at Janny for that. And also trust the process. Don't crash out, don't leave, like whatever this is on your journey. I have played a part in it. I'm sorry for that. But also as part of your bigger story, as part of the grander narrative, who the fuck is to know what this is a small kernel in the next steps of whatever is happening. I'm not excusing it. It's fucked up that people, I was out there communicating one thing and then something radically different happened. I'm owning that as well. But on a cosmic level, good, bad are also illusions. It's all gradients. The other thing that I was gonna say is, to be honest, folks, the volumes, we need people in the Bera eco. The NFT scene is dying on the vine. Like, activity is very low. Do we want to just keep doing what we have been doing that hasn't been working? Or the universe has decided to get the Miberas into a vastly wider set of hands because no one else has been able to achieve that. We need volume, we need velocity, we need veracity, we need variety. These are the V's that we need, right? The other thing that I'm going to say is that don't mistake disappointment for the fact that Milady's took 6 months to mint out, but they eventually did, and they was of such quality. Look at their floor price now, even years later. You are so fucking dialed in, and yes, you didn't get as many whitelists as you want, but you're dialed in. Like, once the collection launches, some people are going to be dumping. Like, imagine you had an opportunity to get CryptoPunks or Bored Apes in their prime or Milady's right around mint time, and you had all of the information. You were fueled by a chip on your shoulder where you've been wrong, like you're animated and motivated. These are gifts, right? A lot of the time, the thing that we're trying to overcome in these types of systems, psychologically speaking, is inertia. The number of stories you hear of people being in the right place and time, but not the right mindset, or they were in the right place and the right time, but they didn't follow through for whatever reason. Finally, what I'll say is the cost of entry. Sometimes the universe requires something, a loss, a disappointment, a grief, as part of some energetic transference. And so sometimes the cost of entry of these things is to have your belief or hopes shattered by someone that you believed in, and you come back stronger, reformed, more resilient, and this type of thing. I'm not, again, making excuses. I'm just trying to reframe the conversation. Yeah, I was going to go on a spiel about my cost of entry into crypto, but I'll save that for another time. But it's, let's say I come from a time in crypto where there wasn't multi-sigs, there wasn't centralized exchanges, there wasn't a Bitcoin improvement proposal process, there wasn't all of these systems that we now have in place. And it was the Wild West, and there's been a lot of loss in the journey. And I think the main thing that those of us who've made it share in common is that when we get knocked down, we get back up again over and over and over. And that is really the training ground. I think that's maybe a lesson that's a bit more esoteric. But yeah, I don't want to, sorry, Dan, you triggered in my head a bunch of stuff. I also interrupted you. Was there more you wanted to say?
No, man, like it's all super valuable insight, you know, and I think it all has importance to what we are now as Mibera members, holders, and we all have the decision to vibe with the culture, vibe with this lore, this new part of everything. Personally, I'm happy to have one, and I'm happy to have more people at the rave, more crowd, more energy to vibe with. So for me, while it 2 to 1 is not a big deal, I understand some people might be upset, but I hope that they understand the culture and what, you know, Mibera kind of represents, and that 1 is enough for them to sit here and vibe. And if they need more, then, you know, there's maybe other opportunities after we're all kind of the dust is settled a bit. But I'm here for it, and I've been here for the culture aspect. There's plenty of other opportunities and proof of liquidity to participate in the financial aspect. But I'm here for the Mibera vibe aspect of everything.
I've got more alpha. I forgot to mention. We haven't figured out the exact terms, but there's going to be a phase 3.3 before the Magic Eden Open. And we have not yet designed how that phase will work if supply gets through to that level. So if there's still supply left after phases 1, 2, and 3, because I know one of the expressed concerns was if it hits Magic Eden public mint, then it will just get botted to shit. I agree with that, actually. And, you know, we could either change up phase 4 so it's whitelisted, or we can stay in our own site and use some combination of the different things and open up a gate 3.3. This would probably happen the week before April the 20th. So we have time to design that, and maybe we can design it together. Pretty much everything that we've built has been, as I say, a conversation with the community. So it's easier if you post on the timeline, because Twitter DMs disappear. They just got like, I try to answer them all, and then people are like, why aren't you answering me? I'm like, I've cleared the inbox. I don't know what you're talking about. And then they'll message me on the timeline. I'll click the message button and I can see they have been messaging. I have no idea where it went. So actually, we have a strong preference for just anything, FUD, ideas, critiques, compliments, whatever it is, just put it on the timeline. It's much, many eyes make light work. With enough eyes, all bugs are shallow.
Nice. Jenny, I've got one more question. So when will we receive these parcels? So what's the next step? Phase 2 will go live in 22 hours, and then?
So we've just, you minted really quick. And I know people were joking, they're like, but we've now, you get an order confirmation ticket now when you deposit your funds. And it basically says, this is what it, maybe I'll actually send it to you. And then you can maybe share it. I'm going to share it with you on Twitter. By the way, folks, just for the record, Jani will never ask you for funds. We'll never do, if it feels weird, it means I've been hacked. Like, I've been getting a lot of weird stuff happening with my devices, which I don't know if it's just because I'm running on secondhand equipment. I don't like buying new stuff. But I suspect we're under an increasing amount of penetration. We can see in the contracts, for example, even with the Honey Road stuff, people are firing off lots of different experimental probes at the thing. So anyway, just on the record, if it feels like Jenny will never ask you personally or the community for any funds for like a personal reason or that type of thing. So just want to go on the record with that. Now, in the order confirmation, now people, when they deposit funds, it says order confirmation. It's all Silk Road coded. So Honey Road Anonymous Market. Your parcel's been processed and is now in transit. The delivery window will be communicated through secure channels within the next week. Remember, patience is a virtue. The journey may take unexpected turns, but rest assured your package will find its way. Stay vigilant and maintain operational security. Safe travels, Dread Bearer Roberts. And so everyone's getting that. Once the 3 phases have completed and we know what we're dealing with, then we'll communicate to you what the next steps are. Ideally, in my brain, I would like a mint out to happen before delivering stuff to people. I'd like to keep everyone on the same page. The reasoning for that is if some people are preparing to mint, but then you have some people who have stuff in hand, and it just starts splintering attention, and it's more work for us to then stay on top of various different discourses. One leak I will say is on April the 20th, we will open up the Honey Road and also the vending machine. So those will go live. So from April the 20th, you can expect tributary flows to start flowing into the ungovernable autonomous Rave Treasury behind each Mibera, even if it's still in a parcel. And even if you don't have the NFT yet, like if it hasn't quite minted out yet, the backing will be growing there. And the measurement that we'll be measuring within the interface is it will show you a percentage. The intrinsic value of each Mibera will be measured in the floor price of a Milady and all-time high of a Milady. So we'll show you the progress relative to a counterpoint. And that's not a prediction of price on our part. That's more showing you how we're measuring the health and success and the vibrancy of the economy.
Nice. Any questions? I've got a question. What do you think when they will get tradable?
You will have to go in like 10. Trading, I think I used to have different opinions on this, but it won't all become tradable until we have mint out. But if it drags on, I'm not going to let that be the case for 6 months. Let's say if it hasn't minted out, let's make this public commitment. If it hasn't minted out by, let's say, May 20th, so we've got a month after the public mint, then we will make it tradable, and we'll buy the rest of the supply off the market ourselves to achieve that. So that's the worst case scenario. But let's touch base over the next few days, because we'll have actual figures. If everything goes across phases 1 and 2, then maybe we turn on trading in a week or 2.
Nice, can't wait. And what's the plan for the reveal?
Still TBD. I'd like to do reveal parties with you guys. I'm thinking every Thursday. We can maybe just get on air every Thursday, and the metadata can update. And then we can touch the thing here. One of the reasons that I want to, and this was actually something that came out of a conversation with Migs, we've always had the vending machine. The vending machine is what we call Mibera Shadows. Although the main collection has 1,337 traits, we've got more than 2,000 traits, which over time we've built, but then we've kind of cut out some of them. These will be open, kind of open editions, in the sense that we can keep adding traits to the vending machine. So it's not a closed collection. However, if you want to take a Mibera out of circulation, then you have to mint it. If you don't want to, you can just right-click save. That's super chill. But because the vending machine will be open, you can actually explore the collection before it's revealed. You can learn about the collection. You won't know exactly what is in the main Mibera, because there's attributes and traits which are not going to be, that have not made the final cut. And also there's let's say a degen mode and a safe mode in the vending machine. The degen mode turns off all of the rules. So when you're assembling NFTs, for example, certain hairstyles aren't meant to fit with a hat. However, if you go degen mode, you can do what you want.
Sounds good. I would prefer, or I would suggest something. We had in my time zone, I'm in Central Europe, so it was a lot about 11 p.m. for me. It was, I think, the mint started 11 p.m. We had our podcast starting at 11 p.m. So, what do you think?
Can you do mornings?
Mornings in my time zone.
Let's figure it out. I'm happy to look. You've done a lot of late nights. I'm happy to flip things around so that it works to your. Let's figure out the time, and then we'll let the people know. But the format and the venue and the content, I think we've settled on. We together, whoever wants to turn up, we can figure out what the regular spot is. What I will say, although it's very inconvenient for Europos, is that it is unfortunately the slot that works for Australasia, APAC region more, Canada, the States, and Europe. Although it's late for you guys, but it does hit the most time zones globally. So
this time, you think?
Well, I think one way that we could do is just put the mute button on Gianni every so often, and we can cap it, make sure it's no longer than 60 minutes. would be one way. So if it's let's say 2200 UTC, but cap it at 1 hour, could be one solution.
Yeah, that would have been my suggestion because of this lore. We started always at 10 p.m. UTC. Also, the mint started now at 10 p.m. UTC. So I just want to kind of suggest that we keep that, but I'm free.
That's the reasoning is that when you look at what's the most accessible for the most people across all of the that's the spot. There's not many of them. It's hard.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Any other questions? And I think this 1 hour time slot is perfect. So it doesn't have to be that long always to keep it dense so that everyone
Sorry for your loss. I know it's chat. It's the autism.
No.
It's the
Jenny?
and Anya, you haven't spoken much, but thank you for there's been a few like let's say pirate Miberas pulsing out the vibe into the ether, which I think have in no small way really ignited like whole other sets of like the guys. Thank you as well to those of you who are submitting to the dark matter vault. The number of stories that you're sharing is just I feel it too. Like the number of people who are sharing really big life stuff that in some ways now entwined with this moment in internet, this moment in crypto. A lot of us are feeling this way. This sense of I don't know what the word is. Aliveness, connection, vibrancy. I don't know what the word is. Something like just to feel very alive.
I'd say it's a spiritual awakening.
Not a big deal then.
Sorry for your loss, Johnny. Like it sounds like really intense, but honestly, I've been following you for a couple of days, like 3 days, following your tracking you on Twitter. I don't know how to even like verbalize it, and I don't know how you're doing that. Like I appreciate the patience with which you kind of catering to everybody, but I think maybe there's a limit also. You know what I mean? Like I think
there's once I realize someone is just stuck in egocentrism and selfishness, I don't mind giving people a slap sometimes, but I will I rather be cautious on the side of gentleness to begin with, because first impressions do matter, but once I realize that they're a bit of a lost cause for the moment, I don't mind a slap.
But yeah, I don't want this like fuck up to like derail the whole like launch. I agree with Doc, and I think everyone is like feeling the vibe, and it's just like epic project, and I think it's important to focus on that. And it's like definitely the video I didn't expect anything. I just made the video and it hit me, and then I saw like 100K views in like 2 days, and people were like texting me like, "What kind of track it is?" Oh, I'm also raving. Like, let's go, let's do a party together. And
this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. That thing that you did where you made it because you wanted to and you felt it, and then suddenly, like, we're in this weird zone. Some people call it the egregore. But we're in a moment, right? And I think the people who really get to yield that who are they themselves who are doing something from that vibe because they want to, right? And I'm getting lots of reports of folks who are feeling that, and I think it's going to get really weird and wonderful out here as more people start doing that together. Once you cross this threshold, the internet is a weird and wonderful and crazy place, and I have a feeling we're on the threshold of it. I think we're in it right now, and that's not to say we can control it. All you can really ever do is control yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, we have a question. Like, can we? Is the parcel gonna be burned, or we can keep it? Like,
What do you want? Do you want to burn it or keep it?
Keep it.
Okay, let's do that then.
I already save it as a picture, so I can burn it also. But I think keeping is cool. And
yeah,
also,
they're cute.
Doc said that she was buying a lot of attributes before the receiving the Mibera. Is that like tradable or it's
The
divided?
traits.
You're talking no, the accessories. Yeah, the accessories she's referring to.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I think that's I will do something with that. Like, we'll convert anyone who holds those things. We'll find the only limit is our imagination. Like, we're in this moment where we can make anything happen that if we can imagine it, we can make it happen. Because we have the foundation in place now.
Based. No, I like that.
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
babies out there, shout out baby, and my heartfelt thanks to all of the team. You know who you are. I've said thank you to you on the timeline. What we've created together, and not just the team, but everyone who's been around for the last 2 years, we've really, I think, created and contributed something quite remarkable. And yeah, it's I don't know how to put it. My highest honor to be here with you. In my lifetime in tech, this is by far and away head and shoulders the most exciting project I've ever been involved in. But I can't wait for you to see some of the stuff Baby's been working on, because if you think the stuff us at THJ have done is cool, you really, it's nothing compared to what's coming out of Baby Bear and Crew's side of things, which is a part of the Mibera, let's say, ecosystem, the twinned. So just, shout out Baby, shout out everyone who's been involved. And you guys, thank you for making this. I think it's actually, we're not even launched. This is the mint. And we've got such dedicated kind of like Mibera folk already that you're willing to spend this time for 2-3 hours around, and you yourselves are kind of subject matter experts already. That in itself is fairly fucking weird for a totally fresh project, right? On a fresh chain. It's weird. That's weird when you stand back and look at it. And it's great.
Yeah, we love Mibera.
Did you just call me weird, Jenny?
Yeah.
Migs, look, I love it. Like, I went back and looked through the archives, and Migs, you've been asking really good questions for a long time, years. And it wasn't until years later that we got to speak in Henlo spaces, and it's just nice to see stuff. But yeah, you're a total weirdo. Like, this project is attracting all the best freaks on that I've come across in crypto in a long time. It's good to be alongside fellow travelers, weirdos, freaks, creators, pirate radio people, funky meditators, kind of old school ravers, musicians, artists, memers. Like, it's a moment, folks. But I'm going to rug because I need to run.
Before you rug, Jenny, I would like to share some chaos with you in terms of
Please.
meme maps. I was waiting specifically to mint my phase 1 at 22 hours and 22 minutes and 22 seconds.
Did you pull it off?
And when I did, 33 Bera was worth exactly $222 and change. And we were live live in this space at the 2 hour and 22 second mark.
Jesus.
Wow.
You may take that with as many grains of salt as you wish, sir.
You have to show that NFT.
On the phone line, the hotline phone line that Baby Bera put out, the message, if you got through to if you found extension 23, the message was exactly 2 minutes and 22 seconds long. I think anytime, like, when you're paying attention, you see all these funny shit happening.
Meme maths is an important part of Bera religion.
Meme maths is an important part of Bera religion. And on that note, Jenny's out. Peace.
Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Jenny. So what an amazing space we minted. We got drugged by Jenny, and then we got the whole explanation from Jenny. Crazy, crazy. I feel honored to be the host for this space. And yeah, you want to say something for the end? Unless I will wrap up, and we will definitely see us next time when we will have this reveal parties.
Yeah, man, I'd just like to say thanks so much for having us. This has been really great. This will be a moment in time, I think, that we'll all remember. Uh, no matter what happens moving forward, I can imagine it's going to be chaotic, but in a good way. It's going to be exciting. So I know it's, again, middle of the night for you, man. You know, warrior, being a warrior Mibera style, you know, hosting this for us and just, you know, keep on rocking. I know I probably would have faded out. That is, of course, unless I did a bunch of cocaine, like those guys that Andy had talked about.
Don't fall
But
asleep.
but apparently, if you do so much cocaine, you actually fall asleep, which I think I had mentioned in our chat. Isn't that like a jumbo shrimp? Like, isn't that not supposed to be what happens? But just shout out to you, man. Thanks for putting it on. Thanks for having us. And again, really looking forward to the next one, whether it's, again, something like this where we're all up together kind of chatting, or if it's just sitting in the crowd and watching the magic happen. So shout out to everyone up here. And it's really been great. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you too, Mix.
Yeah, man. Just, Mick says it all like always. He's really good at all that stuff. But it was a great vibe with everybody. Man, it was an experience, and hopefully we get to do it again. But really, we'll log this one in the DeFi memory bank, keep it away, and we all have this moment together. That chironic moment. It was the right moment. It was the best moment, man. So I appreciate everybody here. It was a vibe for sure.
Yeah, memory locked. Also, love everyone. Thank you so much.
So thank you, everyone. See you next time, and take care. Happy to have you here again. Maybe next week, I don't know. You will see it on the timeline. So yeah, those who enjoyed, happy to be your host today. And yeah, I will wrap it up here. See you guys next time. Have fun. Mint your Miberas. Goodbye.